Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. I'm Teresa. This is Lost My Thread. Today I'm going to be telling you about everything that I sewed in the month of September. I'm expecting today's video to be on the shorter side, not because I haven't been sewing, but more just because I have made videos already about 5 of the 6 garments that I sewed in September. I'm not going to get into them in a huge amount of detail because I've talked so much about them already that you can just follow along that series if you haven't seen it already. It is my latest Clash of the Pattern series that I've recently finished, where I was comparing 3 different fitted trousers. I will put a link to it up here if you haven't seen it. Start from the beginning and work your way through. I'm not going to give any spoilers today about which one won because I don't know what videos of mine you might be watching first, but I will just talk you briefly through the different trousers that I made. The first one I'll tell you about are these Sew Over Ultimate trousers. I've made 2 pairs of these. The first one I made in a stretch denim fabric that I got from Fabrics Galore, and the second one I made in a stretch Needlecord fabric that I got from Sew Me Sunshine. I would say both of them in general are successful makes. I am planning to wear both of them and I have worn both of them out in general. The blue corduroy ones in particular though, those are ones that I have reached for multiple times. I had to pull them out of the wash today to be able to show them to you, which is always a good indication of how much I'm liking wearing them. Next up are the Claudia Pants by Style Arc. These are made in the same stretch denim fabric, just a different colorway, also from Fabrics Galore. These ones I will say were more of a flop. They're not ones that I'm going to be wearing. They're not very comfortable. There were issues with the fit. I get into it more in all the videos, like I said, so you can watch through the Clash of the Patterns if you want to understand why I'm not such a fan of these trousers. But, you know, good experience. They're a nice color. I wish they would have worked out, but you're not going to win them all. Next up are the Sasha Trousers by Closet Core Patterns. I got 2 pairs of these as well. I've got a blue pair that I made in the same stretch denim fabric from Fabrics Galore, and then this red pair is a stretch needle cord, again from Sew Me Sunshine. This one has pockets as well, so that's the key difference between the 2 pairs apart from different fabrics as well. I will say that these on the whole were a very successful make, both of them. I have been very much enjoying wearing them. They're really comfortable. I think they look really good on me, and they have been very much go-tos. Again, this red pair had to come out of the laundry because I was wearing it so much. I had to pull it out of my wash before I actually put it in the washing machine to be able to show it to you guys today. If you are curious to see more about those patterns, there are 4 different videos that you can go through that get into different elements of what I liked and didn't like about those patterns. There was one other thing that I sewed last month, and this was one of my Cashmerette Club collaborator makes. So I mentioned this last month. Cashmerette reached out to me and asked me if I wanted to collaborate with them and make patterns from their Cashmerette Club, which is like an access sewing subscription kind of a club, and I agreed to do it in exchange for taking some photos of 3 makes that are coming up. So one of the makes has just come out this month and now I'm allowed to show it to you, but I made it last month in the month of September. This is the Lygon Robe. I especially love the fabric. I feel like that is really the thing that tips this one over the edge for me as a make that I'm very excited about. The fabric here, this is fabric I got from Ray Stitch Fabrics. It's from a company called Storrs London, which I was not familiar with. This is a cotton lawn fabric, and I would say the quality is really up there. It feels to me like a Liberty Tana lawn fabric, but it is definitely not as expensive as a Liberty cotton lawn. It's not the cheapest fabric, but definitely I think a little bit more reasonable in the price range. I think it feels like great quality. It's really nice and drapey because it's a cotton lawn fabric. It is really stable and easy to work with, but the colors are just the best. So I love these beautiful flowers on this red background. I really wanted to bring out the blue, so the blue and the flowers. I chose to make a matching contrast section on there with the contrast, optional contrast details that are on this pattern. There are quite a lot of things I liked about this pattern, so I'll get into some of the details. I feel like this one has a nice shape to it. It is not intended to be super fitted. You're supposed to be able to throw this over other clothes that you're wearing, and it does work for that very well. But there is just a little bit of gentle shaping in there. So there is a French dart. The French dart goes from, I would say, below the waist up into the bust area. So it gives just a little bit of shape for fullness in the bust, but not necessarily cinching in too much. The sleeves are a kimono style sleeve, so they are set into just a piece of fabric that's draped around, so it's just a straight sleeve going onto it. It was definitely more unusual, the construction for me, not something that I've done before, but I felt like it came together well. Gives me lots of space to be able to wear things under it comfortably as well, and I feel like it has quite an elegant design. I think the detail that stands out the most to me though is what they call channel stitching. So this is one of the cuffs, so you can get an idea of what it looks like, but it's basically rows of top stitching 1 centimeter apart. And this is on the cuffs of the sleeves, it's on the edge of the pockets, it goes around the neckline, and it's on the waistband as well. And I liked to be able to use a different fabric that I could contrast with it. This fabric is actually a quilting cotton fabric, so it's not the lightweight cotton lawn fabric, which I actually like because I feel like it's going to make it last a little bit longer, be a little bit more hard wearing. But I feel like that detail is really unusual, and I feel like it makes this one a little bit more elevated, so it feels a bit more dressy and fancy to me. I will say, of course, doing the channel stitching was time consuming. It wasn't my speediest project, and I actually ran out of fabric. I used a spool of fabric, not thinking that I was going to need that much of the blue thread because I was using red thread to go onto the main body. But just with the amount of top stitching, I ran out, I had to order more, and I wasn't even sure if I was going to get it in time for my due date of when I had to have my photos submitted. But I managed to get it all done, and I'm really glad that I did because I really do love the way that looks. I got a good match of the color of the thread as well. And I feel like it almost looks a bit quilted when you wash it. You get a slight ripple effect, which I like. It has a nice cozy home feel to me. This also comes with an optional tie on the inside, and I am definitely going to be opting for that one. I am a big fan of an inner tie on a robe, just to make sure that you are absolutely covered and there's going to be no surprises. You're not going to be popping out anywhere unexpectedly. Because it's cashmerette as well, they are going to make sure that you are having decent coverage over the bust area. I feel like the way this wraps over is exactly where it needs to be. It's not too high and uncomfortable, but it's also going to make sure that I feel secure, that I'm not going to be popping out and revealing myself when I don't mean to. One other thing that they mentioned as an option that I thought was such a clever idea was to actually stitch this tie section down at the center back seam. So it joins together at the center back, so you just stitch in the ditch to attach it so you can't see it. But it just means that when you are washing this or you take it off and hang it up, this tie isn't going to fall out and slip out and get tangled and everything. I feel like every robe should have that, and I'm very much planning to make that or use that tip on robes that I'm making in the future as well. I did put one of my sewing labels on this one. I put the circa 2022 label on there just because I'm expecting that I'm going to be having this one for a long time, and it would be fun to remember that this one came from this year because I genuinely think this is going to be a robe that I'll be wearing for many, many years. This was one of the Kylie and the Machine advent calendar labels. The one downside of this pattern, or the issue that I had with it, was because this French dart started, I think, below where the waist seam is meant to be. I had intended to grade out at the waist and then grade out even further at the hip to be for fitting my size. But I felt like that was really awkward to know quite how to do it. I didn't really understand how it was going to be constructed with the sleeve, with the dart. I couldn't get my head around it, and so I just made a straight size 8, which is definitely too small for my measurement. So I would be an 8 at the bust, 10 at the waist, and 12 at the hip for cashmerette. But I knew that there was quite a bit of excess, so there was quite a lot of positive ease, so I thought I would probably get away with it. I do feel like I would have liked more coverage, particularly around the hip when I'm wrapping it over. It does cross over, but I wanted to have a good amount of coverage. But I feel like now that I've made it, I can understand a little bit more how it's constructed. And if and when I make this pattern again, I will be able to grade out and feel a bit more confident with making those adjustments. And that is me for the month of September. I feel like in ways it seems like there's not very much, but making 5 pairs of trousers is no joke. That is quite a lot. I will say that I did prep 3 of those pairs of trousers in the previous month, and I actually finished one of them, the final few seams, in October, but I thought they're basically September makes. I'm not going to nitpick about finishing one pair and doing a few final stitches. On the whole though, I feel like it was a pretty good month of makes. Some wins, some fails, but I learned lessons along the way one way or another. My head is very much into the autumn sewing now, and I've started some other projects in October that I'm looking forward to telling you about next month. I hope it was fun to hear about what I did make in September. Please do give me a like if you enjoyed the video. Make sure you're subscribed down below if you're not already subscribed to my channel. I've got lots more videos coming soon. I've got so many ideas in the back burner, and I'm hoping to get them out to you very soon, and I will see you then. Bye!